Hi everyone, my name is Sudhir Srinivasan. This is the Late Review. I usually tend to review Tamil films in Tamil, but this time I'm reviewing an English film, so I hope you won't mind that I'm speaking in English about this film. I will be now late in reviewing Dune. I play a bit of PlayStation, and one of my favorite games in the PlayStation universe is a game called The Journey. Now, what this game is about is a character who's walking on a desert. This faceless, almost shapeless character doesn't quite have any great objectives, and it's an experiential game where it's a solo character that's walking in a desert by himself, herself, themselves. I'm not even sure what the gender of this character is. I say this because that game evoked almost spiritual feelings in me, and that's as close to feeling spiritual as I've ever been. This film, Denis Villeneuve's Dune, that's an adaptation of a novel, of a famous sci-fi novel, evoked very similar feelings in me. At least parts of it did. I mean, truth be told, this film does have an objective, and it's not as aimless as the Journey game is. But I still do think that there is an enjoyable stillness to this film. I'll give you an example. The protagonist is called Paul Atreides, and this character is played by Timothy Chalamet. Now, this character, in a scene, he comes under threat. I mean, there's a techno bug that's sort of flying around out to kill him. In another film, this scene could so easily have been manipulated for easy tension, right? I mean, you'd have the music blaring up, and hey, this is a thrilling scene. Something is out to kill him. Does he escape? Does he not? And there's a lot of drama in typical films. But here, everything goes quiet almost. The music becomes quiet, and the character stops moving. And there are some rays from the projector that I mean of some video he's watching, and he sort of stands in the rays, and those create a very a memorable visual when these rays bounce off his face, and he's standing there observing this insect, and it's a very meditative moment almost. And these are the moments that really made Dune so enjoyable for me. Over the years, we've seen cinema romanticize the ocean and the forest, but somehow when it comes to the desert, it's usually shown as something that's signifying a lot of danger. It's shown to sort of whenever the setting is shown, we've seen characters struggle a lot, like in films like dry arid landscapes are typically shown like that. Like even take Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. These series also show that aspect of it, right? The humans surviving in that area. And this film too, in a sense, speaks of the dangers of a desert. And this desert particularly is difficult to survive in because the temperatures range to hundreds of degrees. People are wearing some suits, special suits that manage to recycle their sweat to stop them from getting dehydrated. In fact, in this film, people communicate respect, greet each other by spitting in front of them, mainly because moisture and water is such a precious commodity in this setting, right? So by dispensing that from their body, they communicate a lot of respect to people. Now, and of course, there's also a sandworm that's moving under the desert sand. So it's not an easy place to live in. However, I found that this film had a rare love and respect for the desert, and this really comes through in a lot of spaces in this film. The film's cinematographer is Greg Fraser, and as I've already mentioned, the director is Denis Villeneuve, and these two get together to make the desert seem so eye-catchingly beautiful in this film. In one scene, for example, something moves under the sand, and the sand sort of shifts a bit, and the way it moves, the sand, it almost becomes water in a sense because the movement is like a wave, and in for those few moments, the desert becomes its opposite, which is something like the ocean. And the reason I'm speaking about these things is because this film is still in a way. It's stationary in a sense, even with respect to the story, as some have criticized. And it's a film that inspires such reflection. And in speaking about the story of this film, I must tell you that not a lot happens in terms of how much progress the story makes. And that's, as I said, coming for some criticism. Where, for example, but I found it likable personally. Where a film like Avatar, for example, which is also about the One, right? Where that film would focus on the landscape of Pandora so it can get on with the story. This film refuses to do so. And I spoke about the One, right? And this is an idea, the idea of the One. There's one character that is, there's a prophecy often about this character coming and rescuing people, and this character gets a call to adventure, and we know the usual stages that these stories go through. We've seen them in Star Wars, and The Matrix, and Avatar, and Harry Potter, and there are several stories like this. And as Joseph Campbell, who spoke about, who condensed mythology into this idea, and I won't get too much into this, but what I'm trying to say here is Dune admirably refuses to rush through these stages of development for this character. And I personally found it very likable because it allowed me to focus on certain things and, really understand the mood of the film, the mood of these characters, and what a big challenge almost it must be for the character, the protagonist, to become the one. And what must that character go through? And I think there's a lot of focus on these angles in this film. And this idea of the one itself, even though we find it fairly predictable in terms of what happens with this character, is that it continues to deliver enjoyment to us. And I think there's a reason why. And no, it has nothing to do with the fact that we look for such a leader to come and rescue us. No, I don't think that's the reason. I think it symbolizes the many struggles that we go through, and it serves as inspiration that we too can, if we put our mind and body to it, can overcome some of the obstacles in our life. And I think that's why this idea of the one will never die. There's a small running theme about facing fears, right? And this goes to what I was just talking about as well. In a scene, Paul puts his hand under a certain object, and he's made to endure unimaginable pain and agony, and where another creature or animal would start running, he doesn't. He bears the pain, and this in a sense serves as motivation to us to bear with similar pain and trauma in our own lives and not run away from it. And if I remember right, and I'm a Harry Potter fan, of course, in one scene, I think it was in Prisoner of Azkaban, where Remus Lupin tells Harry Potter that it's admirable that what Harry is most scared of is fear itself. You can see that these are running themes in similar stories, in a sense. This film is set in a place called Arrakis, and this is the desert land I'm speaking of, and this land is shown in such vastness, in such detail. This film is best experienced on the largest screen in your neighborhood, and in my opinion, these are the films that theaters are made for. For example, there's a palace in which the Atreides family stays, and the sheer detail that you get of this palace. And I also really enjoyed that this film focuses as much on the intimate as it does when it really zooms out and shows you the setting. For example, there's a scene in which an army of endless people are shown, and the way the shot is created makes us feel like, are these people, are these ants? Look at the sheer vastness of this setting. There's some memorable imagery in this film. One of the shots that I will remember, one of the ideas is, how there are a couple of helicopters, and they're almost insects in a sense, and they're almost dragonflies, and how the wings are created and how these copters fly. And these are images I'm not sure I'm going to forget in the near future. And what do I say of Hans Zimmer's music in this film, except that it is, just like the setting of this film, very, very vast. I realize vast is a strange adjective to use in speaking of music. However, you must see this film to know why I use this adjective. The music communicates a strange sense of warning. It communicates a strange sense of timelessness. It communicates something foreign and alien also. It's quite unusual in Hans Zimmer's discography, which is predominantly, I think a lot of us remember it for all the orchestra-based scores that he's done, especially for the Nolan films mainly. In a sense, you could say that his music for this film is representative almost of nature itself. And I found it fascinating that he often resorts to the use of a woman's scream in his background music, and this is the sort of film that inspires a lot of reflection even while you're watching it. And I started thinking of how a scream is, well, so adaptable, isn't it? Because it communicates everything from pain to pleasure, from birth to death. Despite us being in the knowledge of so much vocabulary, it's quite fascinating that something profound and deep happens. It's a scream we resort to, and I found it interesting that it's used in this film's background score so prominently. And I think this film Dune has a lot of respect for women, and you can see this because in the story there's a group of women called Bene Gesserit, and these are almost women who are these are women who are controlling the affairs of the world from the shadows, in a sense. And one of my favorite scenes is when the Reverend Mother of this organization is told that the one could possibly be a man who's been raised with a lot of gifts and training by a woman, and she just very dryly comments how it's a pity that a man should be picked for this job. We've seen from the promotional visuals and interviews and trailers that Zendaya plays a character, and in this film, it's almost a Neytiri-esque character. In this film, but we don't see a lot of her in the story. But I suppose that's because it is planned as a trilogy, and this is the first of the films, of course. And I'm sure we'll go on to see a lot more of her character. I suspect that Dune may not be for everyone, especially for people who love their plot and who love for a story to have a proper beginning, a proper end, because this is the beginning, just as Zendaya's character says at the end of this film. And I found that, even if the story in this film is incomplete, and I can understand why it may bother some people, it did not bother me, mainly because the sound and visual pleasures you get in this film are so rich. That it's the sort of cinematic beauty you don't often get. And that for me was enough compensation. Take for instance that shot where Paul and his mother are walking in a desert, while in the background you notice that a double moon is sort of rising, and I said, I mean, I started this review speaking of a video game that I really enjoyed, and these are the shots that really got me reflecting on way more than the film itself, in a sense. And I don't see a lot of these films coming out, and I do think Denis Villeneuve's vision must be encouraged, and I genuinely hope that he's allowed to make the rest of the films in this universe. And I, for one, am very excited to see what he makes of those stories. My name is Sudhir Srinivasan. This is my late review of Dune. Next week, for another film, I'll meet you again. Thank you so much.